want to control the kind of food that we have available and the kind of agricultural system that we've got and the kind of impact that our agriculture has on the environment, we have to be able to do our own breeding, and that means that we need access to the germplasm to breed with. And what Open Source Seed Initiative does is it is creating a pool, a protected commons of germplasm, which will always be available for breeding by people who care about these kinds of things. And because of the fact that the pledge not only goes along with the seed if you save seed from these varieties, but also if you breed new varieties, those have to be pledged under the same terms.
Yeah.
So it's an ever-expanding pool of seed.
Hi, welcome to Peak Moment. I'm Janaea Donaldson. I'm in Corvallis, Oregon, with plant breeder and author Carol Deppe. Thanks for joining me again.
Glad to be here.
We had a great conversation about your Eat All greens and others. Carol is the author, not only a plant breeder, but the author of Breed Your Own Vegetable Varieties and The Resilient Gardener's another book, as well as, of course, Eat All Greens. And is the owner of
the Tao of Vegetable Gardening.
The Tao of Vegetable Gardening. I forgot about that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. You're about as prolific as your seeds, it seems to me, in writing books for people to learn how to do what you are doing here, breeding new varieties. And you're part of a new initiative.
Right.
Open Source Seed Initiative.
Right.
Which you call OSSI for short?
OSSI.
What is it?
Okay. It's a solution to a problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is, once upon a time, when we got our hands on a seed, it was ours. We could do anything we wanted with it. We could plant that seed. We could use that seed to grow up more seed. We could share that seed with other people. We could sell seed. We could breed from the seed. Now, increasingly the case, we're losing the rights to do those things. So the first big inroad was the Plant Variety Protection Act, which was more than 20 years ago. And basically it says you can save seed for your own use only, you can't sell seed, you can't share it, you cannot give your seed to your neighbor for free.
No.
You can still breed with it. Then patents came along, plant patents, and up until then the USDA and everybody else basically said patenting of living things didn't make any sense.
Nature did the work.
All of a sudden they changed their minds about it, and they made plant patents legal. Well, with a patented vegetable variety or grain crop variety, for example, you not only cannot save the seed to share with others, you cannot even save it to replant it yourself, and you can't breed from it either. The patent's considered to include everything, including the pollen.
Whoa.
Then it's got even worse than that. There are things called bag tag agreements, which bag tag agreements. They're essentially a contract that's on the bag of seed that says, by opening this seed, etc., etc. But what it amounts to is that the big giant companies like Monsanto, for example, their bag tag agreements basically say you cannot do anything with the seed except to grow a food crop, a commercial food crop, only this year. You actually are just leasing the seed for a year. You cannot replant it, you can't plant it, you cannot even do research to find out whether the food is safe.
Wow.
You need the permission of the gene giant who patented it in the first place in order to do research to find out if it's safe. They don't usually give people permission to do that. So then they make a big deal out of, well, nobody's proven that it's not safe. Well, since only,
Since they control it,
they control even the ability to do research on the seed.
they're going to make sure that research doesn't happen.
So a bag tag from somewhere like Monsanto basically says, you get to rent the seed for one season. You cannot do anything with it. You cannot save the seed. You have no rights to this seed. It belongs to us even though it's in your hands, and you just get to use it to produce a seed crop for this 1 year only. Now, there's a bunch of plant breeders and farmers and gardeners and seed rights advocates who didn't like that at all. So about a few years ago, they came together in some meetings, and the upshot of it, after everything settled down, was an organization called Open Source Seed Initiative, and it's modeled on software.
Which is where you get the term open source.
source.
What does that mean?
Basically, with respect to software, instead of the software being something that has this license agreement that says you can't do anything with this other than use it under these terms, it says you can do anything you want with it. You can copy it, you can spread it around, you can distribute it, and the only requirement is that if you modify it, you have got to license it under these same terms.
So that anybody else can use it and share it and so on.
So what it amounts to is that open source software and open source seeds, we're trying to create a protected commons. What it amounts to is a public domain variety, for example, the old public domain varieties before all this proprietary laws started happening. You could do anything you wanted with a seed, and plant breeders like me who think that the public should own the seed of food crop varieties, we continued to create public domain varieties, and I even wrote a whole book so that there could be farmers who would be able to do this themselves and would be creating public domain varieties to make up for the fact that so much was being made proprietary. Well, the problem is the big corporations that want to privatize control of the seed and want to own all these varieties absolutely and just rent them to us, they can take a variety of mine and use that to breed stuff of their own.
And then
but
patent it.
and I have no access to their varieties to use to breed stuff of my own. So just by comparison, this is, I am both a plant breeder and I run a small seed company, and the Open Source Seed Initiative, as a plant breeder, I pledge my varieties, my original varieties, to Aussie. We call it Aussie Pledge and Aussie Pledge variety. And what I'm agreeing to do is to distribute it with the following pledge. The Open Source Seed Initiative Pledge. You have the freedom to use these Aussie Pledge seeds in any way you choose. In return, you pledge not to restrict others' use of these seeds or their derivatives by patents or other means, and to include this pledge with any transfer of these seeds or their derivatives. Okay. So you see, we're trying to create a protected commons. Everything I breed these days, I pledge to Aussie, and it's transmitted with this pledge on it. The different seed companies handle it various different ways. I actually put the pledge right on the plus I use a flyer that's got my seed company name on it and gives the Open Source Seed Initiative information about it as well as the pledge.
Well, what I hear here is that pledge, you're asking, you're involving trust that people will follow that pledge. I mean, what you've done is that rather than a legal recourse, which is of course what the patents are and the things that the gene giants, as you call them, the Monsantos and the Dows of the world, are making proprietary their changes to seed and only renting it to us, but they have legal recourse, behind them, or at least the fear of it.
We have got we've got some pro bono lawyers who vetted the pledge for us, and they say it's legally binding.
Oh, fabulous. So if Monsanto picks this up, takes your wonderful, precious
Yeah,
red gold seed.
Monsanto already disapproves of Ozzy, and they had a and so that proves we're doing something right.
Something important, yes. When they get
Uh,
scared is when you're
And
hoping
there
for.
was an article in Plant Breeding Review on corn breeding by Monsanto breeders, and they basically said Ozzy Pledge. They hated the whole concept of an open source seed,
Sure.
and they said Ozzy Pledge seed was too contagious to touch.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. So the way that it works is that a breeder like me, and there's actually almost 40 Ozzy-associated plant breeders, places ranging from universities to a whole lot of freelance farmer breeders and seed companies. When we develop a new variety, we pledge it to Ozzy, and Ozzy puts the variety along with the information about it and the photo of the variety up on his website. So people can go to the website, and people who believe that the public, that seeds should be ours,
Yes.
that the public should control and own its own food crop varieties. We should not be at the mercy of these big seed companies. And people who believe that can go to the Open Source Seed Initiative website, which is osseeds.org.
Seeds.
Yes,
.org.
so it's osseeds.org. Look in on the seed section, and there's about 300 varieties of pledged varieties and all different kinds of crops at this point, with very complete descriptions of what they're all about, the name of the breeder who contributed the seed, and then below each variety description, there's a list of all of the open source seed partner seed companies who sell that variety. And there's almost 40 at this point.
That's because that's wonderful for a movement that's only 3 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
a win there.
And we've had major articles in places like Mother Earth News and Acres and in various places that draw attention and to the website. Then the website channels that attention to the seeds, to the open source seed pledged seeds. And sends that attention straight to the partner seed companies who sell the seeds. And the partner seed companies are all people who have agreed to pass the pledge along with the seed.
Okay.
And that's how it works. We're really excited about it. I'd encourage everybody who thinks that the seeds ought to belong to the people to go to osseeds.org and look there first for the varieties that you buy for your garden next spring.
I remember being totally outraged when I learned that Monsanto that the law had come through allowing living things. That Mother Nature created, could be patented. It was like it told me how out of balance and how arrogant humans are, and of course our capitalistic system that wants to just make a profit on everything, including. So it's like what you're doing is you're freeing the seed back the way it started, if you will.
In fact, the Aussie T-shirt has got the logo on one side, and
what does it say?
Free the seeds.
Free
on
the
other.
seeds,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I should.
And it's a
Too hot to
form
wear
of
the T-shirt.
rebellion against the corporate domination
Exactly.
of food. I mean, it scares me a
Exactly.
lot to think that only a handful of companies control most of the seed in the world, or at least certainly in the United States.
Exactly.
It scares me. It's like they could decide to withhold it at any moment
Yeah,
and
Monsanto
poison it and
actually
so on.
controls directly or indirectly. I think it's something like 80% of the corn. It might be more like 50 to 60% that they actually produce themselves, but the rest is licensed to the other gene giant guys. So, yeah, it's really a ridiculous situation. And And things are actually a lot worse than it appears, because when we're considering garden crops, that's been the slowest area for the patents to move into. But we now see PVPs and patents listed in garden seed catalogs.
What is a PVP?
PVP, plant variety protection.
Okay, all right.
Basically, you can't grow the seed to resell
Okay.
or share it with anyone. The worst of it is that a lot of times in the seed catalogs, the PVPs and the plant patents are not even listed, so you have got no idea whether you've got any rights to that seed beyond growing it for 1 year. And that's one of the things I find most troubling at this point. Is it's a lot worse than that some things are patented, and so you can't save seed or use it to breed with or anything. It's that you don't even know which ones they are anymore. And we're not being told. Ozzy plans to do something about that too. We've got an initiative in progress about essentially a seed transparency initiative.
Oh, good. Yes.
But that basic situation is just ridiculous. The patents are a lot more problematic than the PVPs. The PVPs don't prevent you actually from breeding with the seed. They prevent you from producing the seed and selling it or sharing it with neighbors. But the patents prevent you from breeding with the seed or sharing it or essentially doing anything except just growing it as a food crop. The problem is that as more and more of the varieties become proprietary, and more of the control of this, more and more of the existing seed is owned and tied up and controlled by these big seed companies, they essentially, through the seed, control the entire food system. Because just as an example, a corn that's produced by one of these gene giants is going to be herbicide resistant, so that it can be grown in huge monocultures, at close spacing. Those herbicides are not good for the environment.
Nor
they're
us.
Probably.
Nor us.
They're when the work is all done, they're probably going to be shown to be dangerous in myriad ways, both to the environment and to human health. So I don't think we should be using herbicides at all. So if in fact these gene giants control this generation of corn, they're the ones that get to decide what the values are for agriculture in the future, because basically plant breeders breed the values into the varieties. So for example, this variety of corn, unlike so-called modern dent hybrid corns, this tastes really delicious when it's just made into cornbread all by itself.
And I can confirm that because I got some from you. I got some cornmeal, and you're right. It's like the flavor it's like, oh, this is how it should taste. Cornmeal taste.
Yeah, it tastes completely different from ordinary yellow dent corn. It doesn't require a whole lot of fat and sugar. Basically, the gene giant approach to corn is, in the first place, all of agriculture should be mega farms that are controlled with huge doses of pesticides and herbicides. Part of that is bred right into the nature of the varieties, is that we don't care about the environment. We don't care about the pollution that comes from all these soluble fertilizers, or the detrimental effects of having all these herbicide residues, not just the herbicides, but the soaps and the oils and things that are part of the herbicides are actually
so we'll just poison
deadly.
the environment, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And furthermore, it doesn't matter that the corns really don't even taste all that good and are bred primarily for high yield for animal feed, because we're going to shove them through a factory and load them up with salt and sugar and fat. And They only have to taste good after we run them through a factory. This tastes delicious without running it through a factory.
Yes.
It's a different.
It's
a
real
different
food.
approach. Yeah.
Real food
Yeah.
instead of that manufactured.
So if we want to control the food, the nature of the food that we have available to us, we have to control the seeds. We have to control the breeding of the seeds. And we're not going to get varieties that are bred for organics. All my varieties are bred for organics. In fact, I would say 90% or more of the Aussie Pledge varieties, of these 300 varieties, are actually bred specifically for use in organic systems. They'll work fine in other systems too. But things bred in those other systems, a lot of times, you know, they haven't got the strength,
The viability to make it. Sure.
the resilience to make it in organic. So basically, if we want to control the kind of food that we have available, and the kind of agricultural system that we've got, and the kind of impact that our agriculture has on the environment, we have to be able to do our own breeding, and that means that we need access to the germplasm to breed with. And what Open Source Seed Initiative does is it is creating a pool, a protected commons of germplasm, which will always be available for breeding by people who care about these kinds of things. And because of the fact that the pledge not only goes along with the seed if you save seed from these varieties, but also if you breed new varieties, those have to be pledged under the same terms.
Yeah.
So it's an ever-expanding pool of seed that's freed seed.
Freed seed. May it go viral in the best sense.
Yes, exactly.
You know, may it be like organic. May it become so the right thing to do that, you know, Aussie whatever, you know, is a brand that you're going to look at.
That's
Say,
what-
I
that's
want
what we're
Aussie
after.
seed grown vegetables and plants.
That's right.
Great.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I'll tell you about it.
You're kind of a counter-revolution, aren't you, to the whole capital, I mean, the whole corporate control.
Well, you could say we're going back to the good old days when you got your hands on a seed, it was yours. So, yeah, in the context of everything, all the seeds should be proprietary and be owned by these big multinational outfits. Yeah, I suppose it's revolutionary, but hey, we're doing it exactly the way the Paleolithic farmers did it, so I'm not so sure that's...
Well, certainly contrary to the trend, the modern trend. We're coming back to our roots, our early roots. Okay.
First song I'm going to do is to the tune Hey Lolly, which people usually learn in Girl Scout and Boy Scout camp. And this basically describes how the Aussie Pledge works. That breeders pledge the seed, and like I say, there's almost 40 of us breeders associated with Aussie now, and we pledge the varieties, and then people buy that seed. They grow those varieties out, they spread that seed around. Pledge always gets passed along with the seed. So this is about that. Breed new plants for you and me. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Pledge their seeds and set them free. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Buy pledge seed and save our seed rights. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Join in the great seed sovereignty food fight. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Plant pledge seed in fertile ground. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Harvest it and spread it round. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly,
creed. Hey lolly lolly lo. We also mean no PVPs. Hey lolly lolly lo. No bad tag licenses if you please. Hey lolly lolly lo. Hey lolly lolly lolly. Hey lolly lolly lo. Hey lolly lolly lolly. Hey lolly lolly lo. The Aussie pledge will be our song. Hey lolly lolly lo. Sing and sing along. Hey lolly lolly lo. Hey lolly lolly lolly. Hey lolly lolly lo. Hey lolly lolly lolly. Hey lolly lolly lo.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love the rousing spirit of both the group and your music. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. You're watching Peak Moment. I'm with Carol Deppy, plant breeder, singer, songwriter, working with Aussie, the open space,
Open source.
open source, thank you.
Open source
Open source seed initiative to free the seeds and the plants to be back for us, the people.
OSseeds.org.
You got it. Join us next time.